like put the whole team in a performance improvement plan.
Oh, wow. Very drastic.
I would really like to ignore your salary comment.
Hey, we're looking for managers. Can you fill in?
What do I get?
What do you want?
Coffee?
Sure. Okay, first.
We brought together two groups of managers and gave them a series of workplace dilemmas to solve. But there was a catch. We planted an undercover comedian. Dilemma 1. You're hiring for a role. It's down to 2 finalists. Do you go with Ava, perfect culture fit, but missing a few skills? Or Skylar, highly qualified, but lacking enthusiasm?
Do you prioritize someone that has all of the skills? Or do you prioritize someone that's got the will to learn?
I mean, I will hire whoever has the lower salary.
I would probably bet on Eva Igor Gomez to basically use her enthusiasm and her thoughtful questions and her, therefore, probably coachability to learn what needs to be learned once she's here.
I would really like to ignore your salary comments. Even if we all agree that it will be Eva or at some point, this is not because of the salary. This is conditions that you added, not what was added in the exercise.
I think it's easier to mold someone to the Factorial way than someone who spent 5 years in the industry and maybe is a bit more introverted and a bit quieter.
If I'm not being asked very interesting questions, that it also gives me the idea that the profile probably is not very curious at all in general.
I think that for me it's very important, like the energy, the motivation, asking a lot of questions, like have this, this nose.
I agree with Vic. I think if they're not asking questions about what tools, who else is on the team, what's the culture there, then for me, maybe they see it as a paycheck only job, like, oh, I'm just here for the money and I'm not here for growth. It's not something that I particularly care about.
I will definitely go for the other one because I don't want to have to do all the hand holding for that. Like, I know, maybe I can give that person a project and that'll be done. The other one, I'm gonna have to babysit them, so I'm not here for that.
With our 10 seconds, do we take a vote?
Yes.
See where we are?
Should we raise hands if we want to?
Yeah, so
Eva?
if you go for Ava,
Regardless the salary point.
regardless of salary.
Yeah, regardless of salary, but still salary.
So are we agreed on Eva?
Yeah,
So you
sorry,
guys
man.
agree? I mean, if this was a vote, I'll have to agree with you, but
Next dilemma. Tight deadlines, growing workload, your boss wants results fast, but your team's in danger of burning out. What's your first move?
So we need to decide where we start from let's say from our team, from ourselves, or from managing the boss probably, or managing upwards.
I think I will put the whole team in a performance improvement plan.
Oh, wow. Very drastic.
Yes, very drastic.
And then if after a week the thing is the same,
Out the
just
door.
one of them, just pick the weakest one. And
This is not the attitude.
Yeah,
We're not in the
I mean,
jungle.
I mean, I'm brand new in Factorial. Maybe I don't know the ways of Factorial, but I've seen that happen.
I mean, I don't think we're in such a dog-eat-dog jungle type environment over here, but I think maybe if we take a holistic look at the project, we actually see where we're at with each task, we lay out the tasks, we see how far along we are, and then we reassign the tasks.
In this scenario, my initial thought would be a prioritization, speaking with those above us as well, what are the key deliverables, and just try and prioritize.
Clearly understand your point, and I very agree because I've been in this situation when I was trying to absorb the work,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it is not working, and no one will say thank you afterwards because you first of all you're not expecting this, but then people are not feeling it because the more work you take on yourself, the more under pressure you feel with yourself, and then potentially you spread it out as well.
I would try to understand, hey, who else could help us here?
If we give the estimated time of when we can expect each task to come up, then there's clear communication, clear feedback, and that will hopefully release the tension a little bit.
So first I would start from myself, and then I will make it upper, figure it out with the boss rather than with the team.
Interesting.
I have a different perspective. I'll just fire one person and tell the other ones that they're gonna be fired if they don't do it.
You will fire one, and then you
I'll
will
just
say
fire the first
So-
one. It doesn't even have to be the worst one in the team, or maybe the less useful. But you just fire one. You may rehire somebody.
you want to threaten other people by
I'm not
firing.
gonna threaten my bosses because
No, you're threatening your team because you're firing one, and you're saying, yeah, look.
Just fire one.
Yeah, but
If the
to
workload
rest-
is already too much,
Just wait until that part is done. Fire that person.
How it will help you to resolve the problem?
I guess they'll end up doing this stuff. When you fire one person, that's one less person you have to worry about.
I think that will backfire.
In my opinion, I would stick with Vic. I think that it's important that first we look into ourselves. I wouldn't go first with the manager, go first with the team, and then draw a plan of action that I would show the manager and explain why certain things were dropped. And in my opinion as well, like especially if we're talking about productivity and deadlines, I don't know if the company does performance review or anything like this. I would also see like what's in the KPIs for the performance review of everyone, so we prioritize the projects also according to their growth in the company.
Focusing on people.
I mean, they don't want the performance improvement plan, so I guess like just managing the expectations and like
Probably
offloading.
prioritization, like the prioritization and asking for help is probably the two elements. Yeah.
Instead of a performance, a PIP, maybe it's like a back on track situation.
Well, you can switch the words.
Yeah.
I love it.
I would say myself, my team, and then present those findings to my wonderful manager. She has a lot of compassion and understanding, so she would allow me to deprioritize. I think you would say with yourself, then with leadership, and then with the team.
I agree with you.
And you're more people and then leadership.
Yeah, because then you show them that you're like, hey, I'm going to show this plan that we did together, and
So
they feel like I'm trying to solve the problem.
we politely agree to disagree in a very slight way, but I think the
More radical in my way, but yes.
But people first, essentially.
people first, always.
Final dilemma. One of your team members just quit. A few hours later, they posted a quit talk.
And it's raining and it's the most beautiful day. I just quit my job.
What are 3 things you would have done to stop them from leaving?
Because the TikTok wasn't even funny, so like if you're gonna do that, just like at least do something good. If you're gonna rant about your last job, right?
I think here we have to assume that they were good people for the company.
Let's assume.
And
because you also need to think about the happiness of the person, probably.
One of the mechanisms, obviously, that I feel we do quite well at Factorial is the quarterly, both sort of like the quarterly performance review, but also this kind of like in tandem with regular ENPS surveys. And if I see low scores, basically try to address the group and say, hey, if this was you, please come and speak to me. I think I have a solution.
I hope you would never do this TikTok.
I would never.
You would never use TikTok first.
I think that in this case, there was zero open communication between manager and employee.
For me, if I saw that, I would make sure immediately for all of my other team that they know what their growth plan is.
Yeah, I think the performance review are very important, as well as the one-to-ones with the team, and like check the roles on the team, and if you see any red flag, like address it, like, okay, what's happening? I've seen you demotivated lately.
I think to make the team feel empowered is so important. So like if, for example, they're not feeling very engaged, I think you need to understand where the blockers are to try to remove the blockers as much as possible.
I mean, I don't know why this person quit, but they look really happy. Maybe they just like quit and started a career in stand-up or something. They're like,
Or TikToker.
They're achieving their dreams.
But you've got 600,000 likes, so I mean.
I will look at who's like that picture, like who's that TikTok, who's like the TikTok, and then see if anyone is in my team.
Sounds like they might be.
You know, and then you know who you have to fire to increase production.
Again, you're a very reactive manager. You know, you're like, okay, someone did something, I will punish or I will react after this reaction. But probably you need to question yourself a little bit as a manager.
I don't know, my team's smaller than yours because I've been firing everyone. Just like make sure that you know what the team is up to, like in their head, like but you use more like reviews and everything. And probably have some beers with them and like hang out at the afterward because like a lot of shit comes out there.
Yeah, I agree. Afterwards are important.
Okay, so the 3 things that we will do will be like more one-on-ones, like at least like pay more attention to the one-on-ones, have beers with them, very important.
And anonymous surveys.
Anonymous survey. So like you get a feeling of the whole like
Like a pulse of.
Pulse, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which Factorial is a spectacular tool for.
Yeah,
For
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Career growth plan, motivation.
Some after work, so people get like you get to know like what they're talking about when they're drunk.
And I would take an outside look at the reputation of my team. Are we celebrating wins? Are we putting the team like center stage to take the wins, or is maybe the manager taking the wins for the team and making themselves look good, but not actually allowing the teams that contributed to step forward and take the win?
We know.
Marcos, can you share with the other three what you were doing here? Only if you
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 did it!
You get it now.
I'm like, who's this guy?
Yeah, no, I just like was here to like throw you off.
Really?
No.
I'm like, we can't possibly have someone managing people like in this in our company.
I was
Like,
gonna get
Also
reported.
firing? Yeah, exactly.
the number of times you said firing, I was like,
Reducing the team.
I was like, you seem like a really nice guy in the other room. Like, what happened?
Marcos, are you a product designer?
No. Well, yes, I am, but not in Factorial at all. And I'm just here to mess with you.
No, I know. This is I try to be casual about it, but yeah, exactly. Yeah,